I wrote this in the dedication of my book, For All the Forgotten Queer Romances from the Past. It's LGBTQ History Month, so let's dive into what I meant. My book, Love in the Light, a musical novel, tells the fictional story of two men, James and Alfred, who fall in love when they're very much not supposed to. 1939. It was illegal then. They both work for a shipping company, and their housing is an old lighthouse the company owns. They face challenges, and their love can only exist in darkness. But the remote, forgotten lighthouse provides a safe harbor for them to eke out their own happiness and discover that love can provide its own light. I'm also a composer, and yes, this book is a musical, as in the characters break out into song kind of musical. There's 14 songs, and with the QR codes throughout the book, you can listen to these songs fully produced and voice acted as you read. I wrote this book because there's a persistent and outdated narrative that LGBTQ people didn't exist in the past, or we existed and were miserable with no chance at happiness or long term relationships. But we know this isn't true. We have gay fiction dating back to Oscar Wilde in the late 1800s and E.M. Forster in the 1910s. We have love letters from World War II between two soldiers talking about how maybe someday their love could be shared with the world. Something that inspired the finale song in my book and countless other examples. I was in high school in 2004 when Massachusetts legalized same sex marriage. What does that have to do with anything? Well, it stuck with me that many of the first couples that wed were in their 80s, and when interviewed, shared they'd been together for 50 or 60 years. In other words, LGBTQ people were pairing up and forming long lasting relationships, forging their own path forward, even when society viewed that path as impossible, but we have almost no stories from these time periods. I wrote this book to imagine what one of those stories might have looked like. It's important for us to see ourselves in the past, even if just in fiction, because we absolutely were there. And I like to imagine that my two guys made it to 2004 and got married in their 80s too. It could have happened because it did. So, again, my dedication for all the forgotten queer romances from the past. And I specifically used queer to be inclusive because even though this is a gay romance, all LGBTQ stories deserve to be remembered. Not to mention, there's a very important lesbian character in this book as well, who acts as a mentor to Alfred and James. So if you're interested in reading their story, check out Love in the Light, a musical novel. Signed copies are available in my shop.